And we are live. We made it. I see 5 people in Twitch. Thank you for being there. That's amazing. My name is Alex, and welcome to the Alien in the Room. Conversations about spirituality, the paranormal, art, UFOs, alternative history. We really want to talk about all these topics with you. We aim to be like an interactive show, right? So we'd love you to really comment on the chats. We can display chat into the stream, so I think that's exciting. And I really want to emphasize, guys, that we want to make this with you, and we want to even ask you what kind of topics do you want us to talk about, and all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm really honored to be doing this. I think this format right now is going to be amazing because it's live. It's really easy to come up with the content, and yeah, nothing is really scripted. We just want to have fun and improv. So without further ado, I'd like to join Kathi to the conversation. So I have to say the punchline. Tonight, well, this afternoon, the alien in the room is Miss Magic Kathi. How are you doing?
Hello, and for me it's actually night. See, no, the other side. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's dark outside.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Did you hear my intro?
Yes.
Oh, so you could hear it. Okay, because I'm like
Yes.
really going crazy. Like, is she hearing me? Because I don't really know how.
Yes,
this
I
works.
heard. I heard everything. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, part of the fun of this show is that we can do it like with global guests, and it's actually made by people from different countries. So I think that's super exciting to get together, and like, even if we can make the times work as we're doing right now, it's gonna be really cool. Yeah. So Kathi.
Hello to everyone.
Kathi, you're in Dubai right now, right?
Yes, I'm in Dubai, so I'm closer to you now than before. But yeah, different time zones still.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But what is time?
Thank you so much for joining us.
What is space?
Yeah. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm
pleasure. So good. It's been a crazy time. I mean, we live in a crazy time, but a very exciting time to be alive, definitely.
Totally.
Every single morning I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm excited to see what this day will bring for us, for humanity, for myself, for just the world.
Totally.
The universe, more so, not just the world.
Absolutely, yeah. The multiverse, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm really curious. Well, you and I already had some talks about what you do, but I'd love if you could explain a little bit to us what it is that you do, because I know that you're a really busy woman, that you do a lot of stuff, and you've been doing it for years. And could you tell the audience a little bit of your work?
Yes. So I do a lot of things actually, but I can put all of the things that I do together and label it as DNA activation and helping people to remember why they came here. And I use a lot of different tools. I use astrology, human design. I work with energy. Basically, I explain energy. I translate energy into words so people can understand who they are, what kind of energy makeup they have, and what the energy really wants to do on this planet, because we're all just energy in a physical form. So I help people remember why they became physical. That's just to put it very simple. Again, I use astrology, human design, intuitive gifts. I tap into the ethers and basically help reactivate people.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds amazing, and maybe for the audience, like that, maybe they're not into that kind of expertise themselves, but
that's why I'm the alien kind.
Yeah. Ruta is now reminding me that I didn't ask you the question, like the intro question that I was supposed to ask you. Maybe we can do it now. Have you ever felt yourself as if you were like the alien in the room, and can you tell us a story about that?
I would say I never felt like the alien in the room. I felt like the alien on this planet. So, I feel like my whole, up until probably my mid and late 20s, which I'm still like in my end of 20s, I felt weird. I felt different. And so the past 2 years have been very much like so amazing for me, because all of a sudden I meet so many people who also feel like aliens. And I feel like before we've all been kind of separated, and I literally felt lonely and isolated my whole life. I felt like something is off with me. I'm wrong. Something is weird. I never fit in. How can I ever fit in? But at the same time, I don't want to fit in. So it was this whole struggle. And now I understood the learning lesson in that, and the meaning, and why it was so important for me to spend so much time also in hermit phase, and maybe not, living as a traditional quote unquote, right, 20-year-olds going parties and like doing all of the things. I've never really done that, because I've always been very much in my own little world. And I'm really grateful now, because it allowed me to tap into depth of this universe that other people might not have. And I've probably had, my party life, whatever, in another incarnation. So that's also fine. I've never missed that. But yeah, I've always felt like the alien in the room, to just put it simple.
That's an amazing answer. So you came already partied to Earth this time?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, that's great. That's a great answer, and that's why you are our first guest, because you've been feeling like an alien in the room for the majority of your life. So that's super cool. So I think it would be interesting. I mean, I know there's like a lot of stuff we can unpack from you right now, but maybe we can begin with something more basic, like. For example, the DNA activation. I think it's really interesting. It sounds really interesting. Where does that come in? Like, could you elaborate a little bit on the DNA activation?
Yes, I mean, it sounds very fancy, but it's actually very simple. So your DNA gets activated whenever you have a strong resonance of truth in your heart, right? And so what I do in my sessions, and when I tap into people, I have this ability to pick up on their truth and pick up on their soul's highest potential and timeline, and I mirror it back to people. I project it back to people, and we basically talk through a lot, right? Because a lot of the blockages in our DNA happened through language, right? The minute we learn language, we are being programmed. And so the way to work around that is to reframe the programming, and so to crack open, so to speak, all of the codes and implants that you have installed in your system. If you think of your whole operating system as a computer, right? It's just about clearing the programmings. Totally. And what I do, again, it's a lot through my voice and through talking and reframing how we reactivate your DNA and clear the programmings, right? It's just about reframing it. And when you reframe it, you all of a sudden have a different perception about yourself and about the world and about specific things that happen in your life. And because of that different perception, you also see for the future, so to speak, a different timeline, right? New possibilities, right? Because there are no limitations anymore. And ultimately, my intention for everyone that I work with is to realize that you are the creator of your own destiny, and you can code yourself. And you've just like been programmed to believe that other people code you without you even knowing that you're being coded. So it's very, I know it's very scientific and alien what I'm talking about, but that's what
I think it's so amazing, and you have put it so beautifully. Of course, like for normal people that they are not used to even meditation or some stuff like that, it may sound like really far-fetched, like and really complicated. Because it really has to do like with the fabric of reality, and like so many people are like totally in the matrix, let's say. So they don't even know about their own spirituality, which I think it's something amazing. It's like if a plant didn't know about its primary function of doing photosynthesis, for example. So like we go through life like really, as you were saying in the beginning, like not really feeling or the other way around, like feeling that something is off, feeling that we are not really in control. So I really like this movement and this spirituality that's right now happening, and it's ever expanding right now, because I mean, in the end, everything is DNA. Everything, and the DNA is like frequency, right? So the fact that we can work with our own DNA and we can do what we desire with it, it's something that I totally am in love with.
Yes. Yeah, essentially DNA is light, because we all are light, right?
Exactly.
And when a lot of people talk about activating the light body, what that really is unlocking the DNA in a way where, you know, the DNA is always light, but it's I don't want to say the quality of light that you vibrate on, but it's from like denser light into higher light. It's like, you know, when you think of, how do we say that in English? Like a lamp, right? And you have these energy saving lamps that are kind of like lower, right? And then you have like really bright halogenic lamps that really vibrate and shine like a very bright white light. And so what we really do is to activate your light in a way where you shine so bright, right? You shine so bright, so bright that it's inevitable for you to not be seen, right?
Totally.
God is in the DNA.
God is in the DNA for sure. That's my sister. That's
so
funny. Yeah.
I would even say, I mean, yes, of course you can say yes, but at the same time, DNA is God. God is not in the DNA. DNA is God.
Totally. Well put.
So essentially, what are you, right? God.
Totally. And the fact that they always say that humans, we do have, like in studies that have been conducted about genetics and the DNA itself, like they always talk about this junk DNA, right?
Yes.
Which I think it's something, I mean, it's a great unknown still for scientists all over the world, or so they say. Because if you ask me, like, I'm more than sure that there's a lot of scientists out there that they really know all of this, right? We as civilians, like, we can only work with what they give us, like the official version of stuff they give us, and what we can find for ourselves. Like, for example, to me, I told you before that it was so exciting to find out about meditation and to actually be able to validate my own experience, you know, and I think it's amazing. I think so many people are waking up to this reality, and yeah, I mean, we should be grateful for people like yourself that you're doing so much work in this regard, just to help people like understand themselves better and like feel themselves better in this world, right?
Yeah, and I love that you brought junk DNA up, because you know, they say 90% of our DNA is junk DNA, which doesn't make sense, because I mean, as if Source would be like, okay, let's just 90% of what I'm creating is junk. Let it just be waste, and it's not, you know, we don't need that, right? And that's where the DNA activation also comes into play, because what it is, you know, the 10% that are there that we are starting with, we activate more and more and more and more and more. So you have the full capacity of the 100% of DNA that is in your system. The 100% of DNA that is in your system that is able to tune into different timelines, tune into different frequency, perceive different dimensions, perceive everything, telepathy, teleportation, like all of that, we are able to do that as humans. And ultimately what we are able to do is to create physical things through energy. So basically energy manipulation, which we can start inside of ourselves first, because we are energy. So of course, when you learn how to manifest things into the physical, you start in your own operational system, which is the DNA that you carry, right? And obviously that's why they say it's junk, because they don't want us to have that power, but we have that power inside of us. And they couldn't take the power away in a physical way, right? That's why we have blocked DNA installed in us, so we don't remember our abilities. And that's where I say, like, it's all about remembering and re-accessing what's already there. I'm not planting something new into your system, right? I just help you find the keys and build the keys so you can unlock them for yourself. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. And I mean, I I mean, so many of the things you said, like, for instance, like, I felt like that all my life. Like, I felt like I did have power in my energy, in my choices, in my life. But yeah, maybe the world like is pushing us, right? Or we are being, even though we're trying to do our own thing, we're constantly bombarded by the world or like the general consensus of things. Because if this DNA has to do with reality, which apparently it does, right? Like, I mean, it's so complicated. And as you were saying, like, maybe they're keeping this from the general public, these studies that they found out, because it's the key to everything. It's the key to consciousness. It's the key to reality. And yeah, maybe they don't really want us awake, and they don't really want us like super heroed up, you know, like everybody could be like a superhero or like a super being.
I mean, you have to see that the majority of humanity would not be ready for that, which is also, you know, where you can see it makes sense that we don't have access to our full power, because imagine from now to tomorrow, everyone would be able to create everything, you know, have the full, I mean, it would literally, we would kill each other. Like, because not, you know, you can only have that, and it will always be that way. I have to say that, like, even when I activate people, I can only activate you to the fullest capacity if you have integrity in your heart, if you've done shadow work, if you have the highest vibration of unconditional divine love inside of you, if you have these values installed in your heart, if you act from a place of greed and you know, only wanting to take for you and not really understanding how interconnected we are and that we are all one, then it won't work for you, because that's the number one universal law. You can't just, you know, take everything for you. So basically just creating for yourself. That's why more and more people right now on the planet, right? We have so much awakening happening, because at the same time, a lot of people awaken to the fact of, I want to do something for humanity. I want to contribute to the collective. I want to serve. I want to heal, right? There's this activation of the heart chakra, the higher heart chakra, where people automatically do something to be of service to others. They don't just want to take for themselves. And that's why they are able to ascend higher and to activate higher, because we are not in the survival mode anymore as a species, right? Where we just have to fight for our own survival and we don't take care of our neighbor, or whatever it is, right? So only because of that, we are even able to activate so much in our DNA, which that's sort of like also releasing the, you know, the anger maybe towards forces being that basically kept us away from our true power, because again, we were not ready for our true power. So it's all in divine alignment, because even the forces that sort of disconnected us from our, let's say, DNA and our power, even these forces come from source. Even these forces are from God. So God didn't want us to have that power, right? If you see it from that perspective.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to fight against them. You have to understand why it's happening.
So it's part of the divine plan that this has to happen at a certain moment, as is happening right now. I mean, when we were in the Middle Ages, this couldn't have happened, you think?
No.
That's
yeah.
Cool. That's cool. I mean, I never thought about it
because,
like that.
Of course, because, you know, it's all like, you have to get away from the concept of good and bad and, you know, the evil forces are against us, because all is created from source. Source wanted to have an experience from all angles, right? And so even the things that we think, oh my gosh, they are negative and bad and, you know, fighting, and even right now in the world, what we see, it's all from source, because source wants to have a specific experience. It's just like in a film, right? Or in a computer game, you need sort of like the contrast, the polarity, right? In order to have a very important learning lesson. And so right now, the lesson is to move away from, oh, I've given my power away. Now I know how that feels, right? So now it's about how can I reawaken? And that's the lesson, right? And before, what was the lesson? Oh, okay, how does it feel to not have my power? How does the world look like when, you know, the majority of humanity doesn't have access to their power, right? And now it's the other way around. So it's all just playing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You said something about shadow work.
Yes.
What is that, and how does it work? I want to do it. Is it good?
Yes, in the end. I mean, it depends what your relationship is to your shadows, because again, like majority of people would judge their shadow or want to hide their shadow because they are ashamed of it, right? But we all have shadow aspects, because you just have to look around in the world and you see a lot of shadows, and they are all just a reflection of your own shadows, because again, we are all connected and we are all one source. And so when we speak about shadow work, it's going to these places in your subconscious, in your system, where you feel triggered, where you act not integrity, right? Where you want to hide, where you don't want other people to know. That's all your shadow, because you try to hide it, right? You try to keep the light away from that. And the task for you is to move towards that shadow with your light, shine a light on it, see it, and then understand the lesson, because the shadow has the greatest lessons for you, right? And when you shine a light on these shadows, obviously the shadow goes away, so your light is even brighter, right? Especially also because you learn the lesson. So the more you shine a light on your shadow, the brighter your light will get.
That's so beautiful. It's like it doesn't have anything to do. Like the other day, I heard Mike Tyson, the boxer.
Yeah.
He said a really cool phrase, that it was that your enemy is your master, which I really liked, and it really goes well also with the yin and yang, right? Like the darkness has to be there, like, so you can mutate, or you can be all light, no? In the same way as I think right now in the world, the politics, the pandemics, the conspiracies, everything that's happening, like we're living kind of like a dark age, that I'm hopeful that it is a device for proposing us to the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah, and I feel like it's again, like it's all, it all comes down to your perspective, because I don't necessarily feel like we live in a dark age right now. The only dark age we really live in, what we transition out of, is an emotional dark age, right? That's what it is, because a lot of people still don't know what their emotions are and how to navigate them and all of that, and that comes down to our parents and the ancestors and all of that, because no one has really learned about emotions, right? And that's like usually where the shadow is carried, right? Body, and water rules the emotions, right? And so if the water is intoxicated by programming, our whole system is intoxicated. And you can see the reflection of that in the ocean, right? The water on the world is intoxicated. People talk about, unpurified water, like the drinking water. It's all just a reflection of how we are able to digest, I guess, our emotions.
That's amazing.
And take care of our emotions. So I feel like that's the real dark age we transition out of. Of course, what you see in the world is just a natural result and consequence of that, right? Because when we don't feel our emotions, we don't feel, or we don't perceive the guidance from the upper realm, so to speak, because the first entry point to guide us is through the emotions, right? Because emotions, it's energy in motion. We all are just energy. So every emotion that you have is actually a message from the upper room, so to speak, or from the divine. And so if we don't feel that, we are completely blind navigating the 3D world. And that's what the manifestation of that you can see in right now in the collective, where people don't even second guess what the government is saying or what's going on. They just like follow blindly the fear, right? Oh my God. And don't really understand that fear is an illusion, and everything they put in front of us is just a big ass illusion. It's not even real.
I totally agree. And I felt like that like so much time. It's crazy. And it's crazy to hear you speak, because you're so articulate about it, and like you say exactly what it is. I love it. Really, really, really. Kathi, right now you're doing a podcast now. You've been doing a podcast of yourself for quite a while, no? Is this happening on Spotify, or where can people listen to you?
So I host on Anchor, but Anchor distributes to iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, like every Podia, all the podcast platforms. You just have to type in the Magic Kathi show and it should appear everywhere.
That's amazing. So people, go do that and listen to this magic woman, because she really has a lot to say about all this stuff. What else? I wanted to ask you too about, one question that popped into my mind, like when you talk about the collective, that is a collective of like human beings, Earth, the whole universe.
I speak more so of the collective down here, like the Earth.
Like a specific collective of consciousness here on Earth. Yeah,
because there are many layers you could look into that, but we as humans, knowing that or not, we are actually also here to help the Earth ascend, right? So because we carry a specific energy and we work with the Earth together, right, in harmony, and ideally, I guess. But we come here and we forgot about it, so we are also not in harmony with the Earth, and so we stop the ascension of the Earth. And that's why even in the ascension process, more and more people reawaken the remembrance of, I actually want to reconnect to Mother Earth. I want to reconnect to natural laws and all of that. So right now here, I feel like it, and the whole universe is ascending. It's not just the Earth, right? We have to see that too. But there's a lot of emphasis on the Earth, especially because we have a very, very strong power to accelerate the ascension process of the entire universe, right? And there are a lot of like different energies in the universe helping us, including the planets. That's why I talk about astrology. We can really see that the Earth has a very significant role in the ascension process of the universe, of Source. And obviously, because we're living on Earth, we are also very powerful and important in that regards. And the more people awaken to the fact and facilitate and work with the ascension, the better, right? But obviously there's still a lot of people on Earth that don't even know about what ascension really is, right?
I find that really interesting. I mean, so I thought that maybe like that spiritual evolution was happening like locally on Earth and like at a different rhythm than in the universe. But so it's actually happening everywhere. Like if we had like a planet similar to our own with like a civilization on it, would they be independently from in which point of civilization they are? But like if we evolve, they evolve at the same time, like in a pulse in the universe or something like that? Kat?
Well, that's where we really have to really see that we are connected. Like you can't, because the way you just described it would feel like we are the separate sort of like planet in the galaxy, but it's not. Like we are connected, right? We have an impact on different planets, and different planets have an impact on us, just as you have a different impact on humans, and other humans have a different impact on you. So it's like you can't just separate and isolate, because that's thinking in separation. Totally. And of course, when the Earth is ascending, it has an impact on all the different energies around us. And at the same time, because that is the case, all the different energies around us support us. Right? Because they know, okay, if there's something happening on Earth, then something is happening here too. So we have to connect, right? And at the same time, everything is coming from source anyway, from one source, and it's connected anyways.
Would you like to talk a little bit about human design? Kath?
That was like a very cut, like from one thing to another thing. Yeah, of course I can talk about human design.
I mean, it's actually related,
yeah,
right?
What do you want to know?
Actually related, no?
I mean, I would more so, of course, but at the same time, it's more so, astrology would be more so related to the whole universe. But human design, yeah, it's about the energy of humans.
Can you explain a little bit to the audience what the hell is human design and where does it come from?
Human design explains to you how your energy works. So again, going back to we are all just energy, you want to know how your energy works in this physical form, and human design can help you translate it and figure that out. And it's a makeup of quantum physics, astrology, the Kabbalah tree of life, the chakra system, the I Ching. So it's a very complex, the tree of life. Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, it's a very complex system, but it's been broken down to very simple, like a simple roadmap, I would say, where you can just look at the chart and you kind of know your energetic blueprint. And based on that blueprint, I help people understand how they make the most aligned decisions, right? How they move forward in life, and also how they magnetize what they desire towards them, right? Because different energies work in a different way.
It's so amazing. Who was the person that came up with the human design for people to research?
His name is Uru Hu. He has a very interesting name, Uru Hu. I'm pretty sure Ra. If you just like type in human design, Uru. I don't know.
Okay, we'll post it. We'll post it afterwards. I just wanted to know myself. Uru Hu. Okay, I'll check it out. So I think that, I mean, maybe I'm not understanding human design properly, but I think it's super interesting, the part that you have a role inside human design, no? There are like 4 or 5 types of roles you can have?
Right, 5.
5. So to me it's amazing, not only in the individual aspect of people, but like in the collective, like it also like gives you like a blueprint of how we can all synergetically work together to be like become a better society and a better aligned civilization, right?
Yeah, the idea of human design is that, you know, it is obviously source doesn't make mistakes, and you know, even astrology says that. So no one is here by accident, right? Or just to take up energetic space. So everyone has a role, right? Everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a mission. And again, it goes back to you have to remember your vision and why you became into the physical form. And human design has 5 energy types. And ideally, these 5 energy types are in perfect synergy together, building that puzzle. Meaning that these 5 energy types, it's 70% are generators or manifesting generators. And these are the builders of society, right? They make things happen. They have the sacral energy. They have workforce energy. So they are meant to build and work, right, for society. And then you have 20% of projectors, and projectors are the guides. So they guide and direct the energy that, you know, generators carry into the right direction, right? So that a generator really knows, okay, this is where I need to focus on, right? Then we have the manifestors, which is about 8%, sorry. And the manifestors are here to inform. So they are simply to inform humanity about the path that we are taking on, right? And then you have 1%, which are reflectors. And reflectors just reflect back to us what the current state of society is. So if society is fucking sick and doesn't live in harmony, a reflector would show that, right? So a reflector literally is wide open in their chart, white, everything is white, and they just reflect back to humanity what's going on, right? And so again, ideally, we would live in synergy together, looking at a reflector to know, okay, this is the state of the world. Projector would kick in and say like, okay, this is the guidance that we need. A manifestor would say, okay, let's just take it that road. And all the generators would say, okay, let's build it, you know?
Super interesting. Would the generators are the bigger group?
Yeah, 70%.
So like, since it's based on like in quantum physics, like that means that that majority of generators, they actually like generate that into reality. I was about to say manifest, but you know what I mean? Like they're really important, even if they're like the bigger portion. Like without them, like none of the other people, like nothing would work without them, right?
Yes, nothing would manifest. Like if you want to say so, nothing would happen because only generators have workforce energy. So all the other people, generators, manifestors, reflectors, we don't have the energy. We don't have the energy to spend all of our time working on things, building things. We don't.
We just don't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I have a question here. A ver. How would you describe a workplace could go by human design? What could it look in the perfect world? A workplace. So this is an interesting question. Are you applying with any of your clients? I guess like in their personal lives, but also it applies like to other aspects of life, right?
Yeah, to all. I mean, you want to use your human design in all aspects of life.
I mean, I don't know if you told me the other day, like can you do like a human design chart for a thing, like a company that just started, or for example, or that
I mean,
doesn't.
I would use astrology for, for example, if you found a company, you can look at the birth chart of the company. I think that would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously then also look at the human design chart for that company if you want. Yeah, for sure. You can do all of these. You can also look at the birth chart of a relationship, for example. Yeah.
That's something that I definitely do. Like with my love life, like I always look to the zodiac signs. But I don't know.
But that's also an illusion, not just the zodiac sign, because I get so many questions about, am I compatible? He's a Virgo and she's whatever, and that's not working. I'm like, the sun sign doesn't really. I mean, it does matter, but honestly, when it comes to compatibility, the moon sign is more important than the sun sign, I would say. And then you have to look at Venus and Mars, and then you have to look at the houses, and then you have to look at conjunctions between each other and synergy and like composite and synastry charts. It's like so much more complex. You can't just say, oh, he's a Virgo, it doesn't work.
Oh, that's super interesting.
I mean, maybe I would make an exception because I have like pet peeve about Virgos, but that's my own personal stuff. I need to work through my shadow. Just kidding.
But it's good to know. It's good to know. So it's not that easy, or it's more complicated. So if you find online that you're not compatible with someone, don't be sad, because maybe you are. I mean, it's not that.
I mean, honestly, that's where I come into play and say, like, even beyond astrology, there is no way that you're not compatible to anyone. You are compatible to everyone because everyone is you. So if there is an aspect where you feel like it's not compatible, it's probably more so that you are triggered or that it's a shadow. So it's actually an invitation to integrate that.
Interesting. I mean, I've noticed, like from my personal experience, like I really do get along with a certain type of signs. I mean,
yeah, of course,
that the person can know based on like their interactions, right? Like, but the love of your life, like, I don't know, maybe a deeper exam. Yeah, you have to go deeper, no? Not read it online, like, and not based on like the basic signs. Like, there's more to it.
I would go as far as saying you would not need to look at an astrology chart to say if it's the love of your life.
That's the greatest.
Like, you wouldn't need anything.
That's the greatest answer. Yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Do we have more questions? A ver, Lady Anathorian says, do this kind of activation relates to how people mistake soulmates with twin flames? Ooh.
What do you mean, these kinds of activation? I can explain twin flames and soulmates, but I don't know what the first part of the question means.
Okay, Lady Anathorian, if you can rephrase that question, I'll pop it up again. The activation, I don't know. I don't understand it either. Okay.
Okay, then it's not.
Okay, later. Alathonian, please rephrase your question if you're so kind. So we were talking human design. So basically, like, the chart you get is like the human body, like with like kind of the Kundalini things. That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
Those numbers like are coming from the I Ching, or like
the I Ching. Yeah, the I Ching.
Oh yeah.
The Gene Keys, the I Ching. Yeah.
Okay. Man, I don't remember what the I Ching is. I know it's the bars and all that stuff. Could you give us like a little bit of an explanation on the I Ching?
I don't know what the I Ching is.
It's something about like the mutability of the self or something like that. I don't know. It's something definitely my mother knows about, and she had the book, and at some point like she did me like those line things and stuff. But
I know the gates and stuff like that, but you know, I again, like, human design is a makeup of so much, but I'm not an expert in quantum physics necessarily. I'm not an expert in the Kabbalah tree of life necessarily. I know about it, but it's not like I know as much as like with astrology, which is also part of human design. So I'm not an expert in every element of human design, and you don't need to in order to understand human design.
I wanted to ask you, since the beginning, that you said something about you used like an analogy, like we're kind of computers. You were talking about activating DNA and like certain aspects that we usually use, like the simulation computer kind of analogies, which I think they're pretty accurate. And so basically, like, you're kind of like well, you and the people that does this and like have control about their own body of light, DNA and all that stuff, like you got the chance like to be like kind of like a DNA hacker of your own. You can choose to meddle with the program, right?
Yes. I always say, like, I can just code my reality. I mean, we all can, but yeah, I consciously code my reality. I code my day. I code everything that I want to experience, and everyone has the power to do that.
How would you explain to people, like, how can we start coding? Like, is it through meditation? Is it like consciously doing it, or how would you recommend people do it?
It starts with, again, like, clearing that are destructing your system, so to speak. So clearing all the viruses in your system and being in a constant observer mode to understand or to realize where there are more viruses in your system. Or to have another analogy, where you have tabs open that you haven't opened yourself, that are running in the background, slowing down your system, right? And that's what you just have to constantly do. And of course, meditation is a very helpful tool because it allows you to see and observe, and realize there's a tab open. I haven't opened that tab. Where is this tab coming from? It's probably something I picked up yesterday, right? Clearing that out. Like, it's a constant clearing. Like, literally, I'm just like, in my everyday life, I'm just like clearing and clearing and clearing. I feel like a cleaning lady sometimes, but it's my Venus and Virgo. It's like cleaning. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to clean up everywhere, so there's a lot of work to do.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know if in our previous conversations I ever came up with the Merkaba topic. I don't.
Yes. I think you. I don't know, but obviously it's very present here.
Yeah, I love that tattoo. I think it's such an amazing topic, the Merkaba. And can I ask you? I started to know about the Merkaba because of Drunvalo Melchizedek. He was
Melchizedek.
Yeah, he was the guy that introduced me to it. Are there any other like masters like showing and teaching about the Merkaba that people should know?
So honestly, only just recently I've heard about Melchizedek, and ever since the name is popping back and forth in every single fucking corner of my life, and I'm like, okay, this name is sort of like chasing me. The Merkaba is this little thingy right here. It's a geometric structure, right? I also have the tattoo of the Merkaba. So it's sacred geometry. And I have been drawn to the Merkaba ever since I've worked with Archangel Metatron. So since early 2020, all of a sudden I was like so drawn to Metatron the whole time. And I never really someone who was into angels or anything like that, but it was like always Metatron. So Metatron was chasing me just like Melchizedek is chasing me right now. And I've always had a huge, I love like triangles, right? Like triangles like this. I've always been like into pyramids and stuff like that. So geometry was always something that I just thought was interesting, even though I'm definitely not a math person, right? But something about it was just all of a sudden really catching me. And after, again, working with pyramids and stuff like that, I was just working in my meditation with the Merkaba. It just always came to my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so last year and this year, I have a lot of activation with Merkaba and how you can create a Merkaba field in order to code reality. Like in the Merkaba field, there's a specific frequency and vibration where you can, which is basically the vibration of source and creation. Like you can create a vibration in there that then allows you to create something new. And with the pyramids, it works in a different way, especially like the field and before the pyramid. So not necessarily in the pyramid, but before the pyramid, when you place a body of water, because water is also the origin and the source of creation. So in the water before the pyramid, you can create stuff. It's very complex anyways. Everything in this universe is also water, not just frequency. Water is frequency. So through water, you can also manifest, right? That's also why charging your water, for example, is something that I do personally. So the water that I drink, going back to what I said earlier, we are 90% water. It only makes sense that you want to charge your own water in the body as well with whatever you want to manifest, right? And it gets amplified if you work with geometric structures just as the Merkaba or just as the pyramid. So yeah, it's a lot.
That is amazing. You know, the water thing, I heard about it like years ago. I think it was on a documentary called Thrive. Which I don't know if you know, but
I haven't seen it.
They feature Masaru Emoto.
Oh, it's with Robert Grant?
I think so. It's called Thrive, or am I mistaking
it
for what the Bleep do now?
I do have a podcast interview with Robert Grant. He's a physicist. He works a lot with sacred geometry, and he actually, I think he definitely worked with that. I have seen it on his page. He and
Masaru.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, exactly. The two of them. They work together. Yeah.
That's amazing. For the people that don't know, this gentleman, I think it's Japanese, Masaru. He did a study on water and how emotions and other kind of stuff affect the crystallization of that water into crystals. And he could observe that if you are all day saying motherfucker to a glass of water, that poor glass of water is sensible and sensitive, and it's going to be really sad and crystallize into like a chaotic, not into a coyote, into a chaotic crystallization. So that teaches us that we are made of water, and like it's really important to not only treat yourself and like talk to you positively, but also talk to others, which is really important. Like be positive and like watch out what you say, because you have power to influence people and the world. So I think it's amazing, and it's sorry, go.
And it's not even what you consciously pick up on, you know, it's we really have to see, because the even more detrimental programming of water is the subconscious one, or the theta one, like the hypnotic kind of state. Hypnotic state, it's when we watch a movie or a TV show, when we watch the news, when we watch a YouTube video, when we listen to music, when we are driving our car, all of the things, right? Because that's where our conscious mind is a little bit on autopilot, and the minute that that's happening, we are on autopilot, meaning that's a state where we don't pay attention, right? And so we don't even realize how our water is being charged by the external world constantly, every single day. And that's obviously where the decoding or like the coding of your DNA happened or started, because we didn't pay attention.
That's amazing.
That's how easy it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I was going somewhere with the water thing. Something funny that some years ago, like I came in contact with like an initiative. I think it was like a software that was called something waterology or something like that, and you could apparently this program, it was software, you could download it. It had already coded like different frequencies with different outputs, so you could, it was kind of weird, but so you could take this program and have your glass of water, and like through listening to the computer's frequency noises, like you were meditating and projecting that to the glass of water. I know it's pretty it's pretty complicated, but you can actually do it like with your own like thinking about it. And like they also were talking about like when you take a shower, you can not only you can program your own water on that shower, but you can program like the whole reserve of water local, like for your neighborhood or whatever. So I thought that was interesting, and it's totally in line with this Masaru Emoto and the water thing. So I think it's super interesting.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like I charge the water before I drink it. I even charge my food. Mm-hmm. And now for some people that's like really crazy, but that's literally what I do. I have an intention. I work a lot with my hands as well, and I just charge the water.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's so amazing, Kathi, that as humans, we don't know how powerful our power of suggestion or programming, if you will.
Intention,
Or intention, yeah, exactly. And we don't know this enough. I mean, we're starting now to realize, but like everything we can make magical. Like if I'm cooking, like the fact that I'm cooking, I'm doing magic with it, and I can program it like to, okay, I want this food not only to be great for my friends, but I want to give them health. I want to give them millions of dollars being successful, you know, like whatever. Like you can program anything in your life to affect others even.
Yeah, and you know, I love that you bring that up, because a part of the ascension process, so to speak, and us becoming more light is also us becoming more sensitive. And I've noticed in my own journey, I have a hard time nowadays eating out, because I don't just pick up on, you know, the quality of food. I also pick up on the mood and the energy of the chef, like who is preparing my food. And I get the digestive issues if there's like stress in the kitchen, for example. You know, I just pick up on that. And it's like for a long time.
Generally, there's a lot of stress in a kitchen.
I know. And so for the longest time, I thought I had like food intolerances or whatever it is, but it's not that. It's really just the stress and the anxiety in the workplace that I pick up on. And so that's obviously why important to cook by myself. I mean, we can just toast ingredients is also a big effect as well. So yeah, it's just it's so much that we actually have to relearn as humans.
Totally. I'm curious. Is there like any book or any researcher that we should check out, like about all of this stuff, or like the Merkaba thing? You said that you recently got to know the name of Melchizedek. But for example, I wanted to ask you, like, where did you learn the Merkaba stuff from? Like,
I feel like the answers that I will give you for everything that I've learned won't satisfy anyone, because I've never really read any books. It's just I tap into the Google up there.
I Googled that. That's
amazing. And like literally, I spend a lot of time exploring my inner world, and the answers that I am looking for, I won't find out there. You know, the epiphanies, the remembrance, that's not something that you can read about.
Totally.
It's something you have to research in your own system.
Totally. And you know,
and I know a lot of people want to have like proof, and they want to just like, you know, but then it's never your own, and it's never as satisfying as literally digging down into your own subconscious mind and realizing something and being like, oh my gosh.
Totally. I mean, I love that, because myself, like I think there's a little bit of echo. Am I echoing to you? I was saying that, yeah, from like meditating and like from years of doing it, like I could say that like you get access like to really big truths. It's like weird to say, but there are things you can learn while meditating that they will pop up, and you will be surprised because other people will be saying the same thing that you thought you were the only one thinking about that. And to me that's so interesting that when we put together what we gather from our inner knowledge, I think that's amazing. And to be similar or to be straight the same, like it's just crazy that people in different parts of the world, they can meditate and they can access the same huge cosmic knowledge. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's magic.
It's magic, yeah. I mean, we're meant to be magicians and wizards and space. Yeah.
Yes. Aliens.
We're aliens. We're all aliens in a big world. I wanted to ask you, let me see the chat. I'm not looking at the chat, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see if we got.
I feel like there was one question.
Yeah.
About the twin flame thing.
Yeah,
was that reframed? I can't scroll down.
This guy. I think she rephrased here. When thinking about soulmates, people tend to believe blindly in fate and not in the process of activating your reality and love around you. Okay, are you familiar with twin flames as a term?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm guessing that has to do with soulmates, no? And
no. I mean, soulmates and twin. I would say so. I would see it in a different way. Soulmates and twin flames. I mean, essentially, it can be kind of the same thing. Where no matter if it's like a romantic relationship or not, soulmates can be a romantic relationship and not. And twin flames is the very same thing. It's basically souls, or like coming from the. Obviously, we all come from one source. I think that's a given. But then the source splits itself into different experiences, right? And then you have different soul families. And then the soul family in itself splits into different human avatars, right? And so sometimes we end up in a romantic relationship with someone who would be from our soul family, and then we call them soulmate. Sometimes it's also just a friend or someone who's all of a sudden we meet them and it's like a soul connection, and it's a soulmate, right? It's a soul friend mate. And a twin flame feels like, oh my gosh, this is me. Like it's a mirror to me, right? It's like my twin. And depending on how much work you've done, a twin flame connection can be very amazing because it's literally mirroring back to you what you've already achieved in your own evolutionary process. And sometimes if you haven't worked on your shit, a twin flame is the most horrible thing that you will ever experience because it triggers the fuck out of you, right? And you don't get along. So it really depends. But in each situation, obviously, every single person that we meet in a physical form is just a reflection of a lesson that you are meant to learn. You don't meet people by accident. So even us sitting here in this room, every single person is here for a reason. I just recently did an episode about the holographic universe and how you program every single human, every single interaction into your hologram in order to learn lessons. So every single one on the call here can ask themselves, okay, why did I code Kathi into my reality? Why did she need to be the physical manifestation of what she said, right? Because you couldn't reach that level of awareness with your own self. So you needed a physical projection, a physical mirror. And that's me in that sense. Why did we need Alex? Because someone needed to host it. Maybe you had an idea about hosting a podcast and you don't have the courage, right? And so we need Alex to have as a physical representation in the hologram for everyone to see how it's meant to work, right? So it's this whole thing, because everything in your universe is just a remembrance, right? It's a mirror of a desire that you have in your own system. So yeah.
Amazing answer.
Oh, I'm glad you liked the episode. Yes. It's a very good one. Oh, I have to listen to it as well, because, that's another thing about me, like, the things, like when I start speaking, I get out of my mind and it's literally just channeled. So even my podcast episodes, I listen to them and I'm like, oh, That's an advice that I need to follow too. It's like, oh, that's a good idea.
Because you get super in your zone and like you are like here talking.
Yeah.
And like that actually happens to me when I play music. Like I totally lose myself.
Yes.
And what about, shall we talk a little bit about the holographic universe? I think it's such an interesting topic. Maybe, I mean, so, okay,
Have you listened to the episode?
I haven't had a chance. I've been like crazy busy this week, but I definitely will. I'm sure I'm going to ask you like everything you've covered already, but or not.
It doesn't matter because you can always rephrase it.
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind, like when I think of the holographic universe or reality, like I think from a scientific point of view that they have been talking about this holographic universe. They always say that the property of a hologram is that the tiniest part of it contains everything, which has to do with fractals and like with the nature of what appears to be the reality we're living in, right? So my question would be like, this holographic universe is the same thing as what other people call the simulation? Okay, so real brief, I was saying like, do you think when people talk about holographic universe and the simulation, are they referring to the same stuff? Would it be the same?
Yes, I would say so. So I can, I'm just tapping into my own inner wisdom. I don't know what science says about it or other people, but what I understand and got as a message is that, and it gets trippy when you think about it and sit with it, but no, I am in my own little hologram right now. You are in your own little hologram right now. And every single person around you is a projection of your subconscious mind that tries to get your attention about a specific thing. So everything and everything, especially not just everyone, but everything that you meet in the physical is a reflection of your subconscious. And so you want to start asking yourself, what is my subconscious trying to tell me through that thing, through that other person? Why is this important right now in my hologram? Why did this need to appear in my hologram? And that's when you start learning about your subconscious, right?
I mean,
and that's also how you can clear shit out of your physical manifestations. If you constantly meet someone at work and he's bothering you and triggering you and attacking you, ask yourself, why is this still needed in my hologram, right? And then when you clear that shit, the physical manifestation, right, because you've integrated the lesson, that's also shadow work, the physical manifestation doesn't need to be there anymore, right?
So that would be shadow work?
Yes.
So I understand it, like when you get lessons from negative events in your life or negative persons, that would be considered shadow? So
yes, of course.
It's like shadow
because you're not running because you're not running away from the person, or you're not blaming the person, you're not judging the person, because you understand, oh, I created that person in my hologram. So the question is, why did I create that person in my hologram, right? Why did I create my boyfriend cheating on me, right? What did my subconscious try to tell me, right? Because in my universe, my boyfriend cheated on me, but in another universe, that might not have happened, right? Maybe in the universe of my boyfriend, there's a different dimension playing out, a different reality, because he needs a different reality. And that's when it gets trippy, because you exist on multiple planes, right? Right now, your perception and your energy is in this physical incarnation, but you are in someone else's plane as well, right? And it gets very obvious when we think about the concept of dreams, where someone tells you, oh, I had a dream about you, right? And we're like, oh, you just dreamed about me, right? But really, what it is that you were playing a part in someone else's hologram, which is happening every single fucking day.
That's so fucking amazing. I mean, that sounds to me like it just makes so much sense, and like it rings true. Like, that would make sense.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't have a scientific proof of that, but it's just resonating with my heart, and I can speak with a lot of fire, and it's speaking through me, so I know it's the truth, And again, someone can say, do you have proof that? No, I don't. But I mean,
but you can find it yourself. I mean, you have to.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So, for example, if I program a girlfriend that cheats on me, I'm the one creating that. My girlfriend would not be creating the cheating, or how would that work?
It works in a way where you understand that your girlfriend is just a projection of your subconscious. She's actually not real. And I know that's trippy, but that's really what it is.
Okay. So, but that's weird because so we're all alone.
Yes.
But everybody is experiencing the same loneliness and I just let me think about it for a second. Okay, so I find it so amazing not only this is happening in what we're experiencing as our reality, but it's infinitely happening in other realities simultaneously, right?
Yeah. See, and that's why when we even go back to the start and the topic we addressed earlier with ascension and everything, there are definitely different holograms where ascension is not even taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, if I look at my family in Germany, they don't know about anything that I'm just talking about. It's not existing in their reality. It's not in their hologram. It's not there. So it's actually not happening. And, I don't know if any of you know Dolores Cannon's work. She worked a lot with also alien contact and stuff like that. One of the things that she talked about that really got me thinking, I'm like, that makes so much sense, is that she said, and it makes so much sense when you think about the computer analogy again. She says that, for example, right now, as we sit in this room, right, and we talk with each other, right now, New York City doesn't exist. We don't see New York City, it doesn't exist. New York City exists the minute you arrive in New York City, open your eyes, and you perceive it with your eyes, then it exists. Then your energy is focused on it, right? Which is the same thing as when you go to sleep at night, you are dying, right? You get out of your body, your perception, your energy gets out of your body, so you don't exist. And then you exist again when you choose to focus on your body again. So everything only exists because your energy focuses on the perception of that thing, right? And when you understand that, you can also understand that you and your energy can consciously activate specific perceptions and realities, right? It's a choice. What do I want to perceive? Where do I put my energy towards, right? That's the true magic Schrödinger reality. I don't know what that is, but it sounds intriguing.
It sounds like a band name. I love that because Schrödinger was there was a quantum physics experiment that was called Schrödinger's cat, in which he put a cat into a box, and apparently there was a device that inside the box let out some poison, so the cat could die. But the point of the experiment was that nobody knew if there was a cat or no cat. So you didn't know if the cat was there or if the cat was dying. I'm explaining it super bad, but it was one of these things that probability, some kind of stuff like that. Note to self: do not try and explain quantum physics experiments live. Note to self. Okay. I mean, it's so amazing. Aber, what do we have here? If anyone wants to listen to the episode, okay, let's.
Yes, the hologram. Thank you for sharing that.
We will put this in the description so you can easily click it. I don't think you can click this link, but if you have the patience, we got Jimbo Jackson 12 saying, this is so fun. In quantum mechanics, Schrödinger's cat is a thought experiment that illustrates an apparent paradox of quantum superposition, that two things can be happening at the same time. Yeah. In the thought experiment, a hypothetical cat may be considered simultaneously both alive and dead as a result of being...
Yes.
Yeah, exactly that. So that is the explanation from Jimbo Jackson. I'm copywriting that Schrodinger reality name for the future. And yeah, man, I feel like, I mean, it's such a...
People probably need to meditate after this episode, being like, I need to sit with everything. I'm alone. At the same time, we are all one. How does this even work? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you said one thing that really intrigued me. Like, so it reminds me, like, the computer analogy is really cool, but like the video game analogy is also really cool, because I love video games, and sometimes in video games, when you're into a landscape, what you see is what is loaded, the textures. Yeah. So you're like looking to other way, and you're coding that, and the rest doesn't stop existing and stops loading and like using RAM, right? So that would be exactly like that. If I am not in New York right now,
or just,
to me,
I mean, just take an iPhone, for example, a fucking MacBook, you know, they look the same, but if you take my laptop and your laptop, it will be a completely different experience when I push the, you know, on button. Mm-hmm. Because we have different programs on our laptops, our devices. Mm-hmm. Even though it's the same fucking thing, it will look completely different, and I wouldn't know how to navigate your laptop, and you wouldn't know how to navigate mine. Because we choose how we create that reality in that laptop, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's. Do you think there's like a point in which we cannot go and understand? Like, do you think as human beings, even if we're really spiritually active and like connected, do you think we have the chance like to understand it all?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'd love to. In my experience, like one of the more like epiphany moments I've ever had it was when I've been in the Netherlands, and I have tried, for example, magic truffles, and like the quality of the kind of lessons that I got from that gave me like so many answers, like to the whole bigger scheme of things, right? But it's kind of difficult to go on with your life and keep remembering exactly how it is, because it seems like our daily life takes us a bit away, distracts us away from this. I don't know if this reality is coded like that, so we're not... It feels like we keep being distracted, not only by politicians and like the main agenda, but like it seems like when we're so close to get a real answer or something, like something happens. And like, don't you have that feeling a little bit like with, I don't know, like for example, like that I know of, like there's been talks about the shift happening that was supposed to happen in a certain period. Do you think these shifts and like are I'm talking about big, huge, world-changing events. Do you think that these things are really happening?
Yes, if I believe that there are big shifts and stuff like that, if it's coming. And my answer to that is, in my reality, so many fucking big shifts have happened. I stopped counting since basically the end of last year. I mean, it's been shift after shift after shift after shift. Every single day I wake up in a new dimension. Mm-hmm. And it could be that I am only able to perceive that because in my reality, there are no distractions. It just doesn't exist. Like, I'm not distracted by the news. I'm not distracted by anything. And in my everyday life contributes to my spiritual evolution. That's my everyday life. And because that's my dedication, that's what I code in my reality. Every single second of my everyday life is bringing me deeper and closer to my truth. So I don't have distractions.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
I just don't allow us distractions to happen, because that's shit I've cleared. That's trash I brought down like the road last year or the years before. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, if you still have these distractions, you won't feel like anything happened, and you're still waiting for that shift to happen. But what really is happening, that you're waiting for the shit to get out of your system.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying this because I've been led to believe that so many times there was something really big happening in the world. And like, my whole thing is like aliens, and I'm a sucker for talking about aliens and stuff like that. But I feel like it's definitely something that ties in with the spirituality and like with the process we're into right now.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, in my own journey, like getting interested and curious about aliens, like got me into thinking, okay, like what if I meditate? Like, could I contact other being in the universe by meditating, or like, could I see in my third eye like another planet or something like that? So that really got me into spirituality, and I really feel like, okay, maybe I'm sometimes a little bit paranoid with the aliens, and like I think something is happening, but I definitely think something is about to happen, like always. That's why I ask about like something big happening, because I link it to aliens and like the shift, like, so I don't know.
So what I can share with you, and it's definitely something that is probably a message that not just you are meant to hear. You live in the very same way a lot of people have lived for a very long time. Only that you don't project it onto God, you project it onto aliens, where there's this outside force that is finally coming to save the world and to save us, and finally the world is clearing, and finally the shift is happening. You're putting stuff on a pedestal, not understanding that you are the very source of your creation, not knowing that you are the alien, you are God, you are all of it. And so as long as you don't see that in yourself, you won't see the outside reflection of an alien coming in, because you haven't understood that you are the alien here on this planet. And maybe your subconscious needed to create even a fucking podcast that is called The Alien in the Room, so you can finally understand that you are the fucking alien in the room.
That is so funny. Yeah, I guess yes. Obviously, when I'm talking about aliens, like, as I understand it, and this is my personal way of seeing things, like, of course, aliens fit into everything as God does, because for me, God is the source, God is the everything, and like God is the canvas, and like, I know it's kind of childlike, my obsession with like that moment. Oh my God, the aliens are finally showing up, but I don't know. To me, it's super linked, like the aliens with because I feel like to the global population, like they can act, not them, but like the fact that and now more than ever, like people do believe in aliens, and like the polls, and like even in well, especially in the US, like people believe like crazy in aliens, and I think there's like
that's what I mean. Like, what are you waiting for? They are already here. Like, why are you waiting for or thinking like they are already here? Like, they've been here for years already. But you won't be able to see them if you put them on a pedestal, and if your vibration is not high enough to perceive them, because they are of a higher vibration. So if your vibration is lower, you won't be able to perceive them. It's the very same thing with every light being, with energy in general. If your energy is not a vibrational match to that, it won't be possible, because they are higher and they are not lowering their energy so you can see them, right? You have to raise your energy in order to perceive them.
I mean,
and so it goes back to the very same thing that I said earlier. You have to get rid of all the gunk and shit in your system, which includes the distractions. It includes the density in your body. It includes probably your diet. It includes your daily, everything.
Totally. I mean,
it's a dedication, it's not like it's an easy thing that you just do as a hobby on the side. It's literally you have to live and breathe this. And I know that sounds very heavy, but it's the most exciting thing to do. Like, it's the main job that we came here to do, and people get distracted by their main job, right? Just like, oh, I have to do this, and then I have to, that's not your fucking main job. The main job you came here to do as energy in a physical form is to vibrate higher. Period.
Totally.
I just recently said that even on my Instagram, your frequency is your main job, and your frequency is your service to humanity. All it is.
How beautiful. I totally agree with that. Talking about, a couple of weeks ago, I saw the documentary for the new one on Gaia from Bashar.
Oh, yeah, Bashar.
Which I liked a lot. I did know the guy from before, and I don't know if you have an opinion on Bashar, but like, I find him really interesting, even though my first impression on him was not that great. Because, what I really like from him is the message. And I think it does tie in with this that we're talking, because one of the main things he says is like, act on your passion. That is your only job here. Like, the rest.
Your highest excitement, yes.
Yeah. And also he talks about a lot about that if you are acting on your passion, you are jumping dimensions. So basically, if you follow the rabbit hole of your passion, you will be manifesting or jumping to dimensions in which you are more tuned to the things that happen to you. And like, is it something like that? Am I getting it right?
So, the concept of it is that your highest excitement that comes from the heart is the straight up guidance from your soul, your highest self, right? Your highest self guides you in a specific direction. And if you don't follow that, obviously, then you're not in your highest timeline. So the minute you follow your highest excitement, you're always in the highest timeline.
The highest timeline.
Yeah. And that's where it gets easier and flowier, and just synchronicities happen because you're on the right path. That's as simple as I can explain. Yeah, I love Bashar because he makes everything very... It's very like the way he, similar to, even when I speak about spirituality, it's really down to earth. It's not like this, I mean, yes, of course, it's very alien, but it's not like, oh, love and light and all of that. Like, it's very practical, and I feel like Daryl Anker has probably also Capricorn moon. It's my Capricorn moon. I also love to call people out on their bullshit.
Oh, really?
Just like, because it's not like sugarcoating things. It's not easy, right? It's not like there's not a magic wand and all of a sudden everything is sugar and rainbows. We have to put in the work, and Daryl or Bashar, that's their main messages as well. Like, we as humans make it so complicated. We try to overcomplicate the whole universe in order to not do the main job and the main basic things on a day-to-day level. Even the question, where would a person start with cleaning? So it's not so overwhelming. I know it can seem overwhelming, but you start with basically what shows up tomorrow. If there's a trigger, that's your first thing to address. Take it day by day. You don't have to reinvent the wheel tomorrow and ascend tomorrow. Literally use what pops up in your matrix and your hologram tomorrow or today. What bothered you today, and then go deeper. And that's how you start.
From Bashar, like, I love the teachings he gives, but to me it's like so surprising the way he projects that personality, and that it's like theater.
Yeah, I mean, he's really channeling. It's a specific form of channeling because it's Bashar is the energy that speaks through Daryl Anchor, right? So Daryl is the human, right? And he gets out of his consciousness, so to speak, and lets Bashar enter the field. And it's like even energetically changing the voice and everything. So that's a different form of channeling. The channeling that I do, I'm still kind of like Kathi, right? And it doesn't feel like I'm a different person, but there is channeling where it's literally, you know, the person usually has their eyes closed and some other entity is speaking through them. And then you see that for the first time, you feel like, oh my gosh, that's kind of weird. But yeah, it's just a different form.
It's really interesting. I mean, I have tried channeling myself because I have tried so many times, so many things. And it's so interesting. It's so definitely interesting. I mean, if I get it right, also Daryl and Bashar, more Bashar, he tells a story of the grace. So like Bashar, or the collective Bashar represents, would be what we call the gray aliens. And like he gives like a really complete explanation on the gray aliens and what the hell happened to them and like why are they here and stuff like that. Being that explanation that they are humans from another alternate Earth, maybe in another point in time, that they got so advanced in their civilization that they ended up being really far out from their emotions. They went into technology and like things that took them away from spirituality, emotions, and stuff like that, to the point that they couldn't even reproduce properly. So they have to come here like to interact with us. Am I getting that right?
Could be, yeah.
I mean, if you know the story Bashar tells, like, I think it's something like that. So basically, these gray aliens, like, they say that we are from the same family, and you know, to me, the grays have always been like so interesting. I don't know why. Obviously, there's like a huge pop culture thing about them going on for years and years, and we've all been like programmed to them. I don't know with what agenda, right? But the fact that they went away from their emotions and that they need to like rewind and go to another Earth, which would be ours, to interact and interbreed with us because they are dying. So we'd be not only like their parents or like their sons, but also we would be like saving them in somehow, and that is one of the things that Bashar says that to me, I don't know, I find it really interesting, because
Can you see what I mean? Just remember what I said earlier about what the real dark age is on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
What did I say?
That you said that you don't believe that right now we're in a dark age, if I remember.
I did say if we were in a dark age, there's only one dark age that we are in, and that's an emotional dark age.
Yeah.
What did you just say about the grace?
Mm-hmm.
It's the very same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say that's why this part or point in history is so significant, because we are here to shift the paradigm. And that's why I also say we are already the aliens that came here to save the rest of humanity, that live in this emotional dark age, and they don't even see what's going on, and they just don't see beyond the illusion, right? And we can, of course, give them a label of, oh, these are the grays, or these are, you know, parts of the grays, and whatever it is. At the end of the day, we are all hybrids, and we are all just here to raise the vibration of the planet, the collective, however you want to say that. And yes, of course, we couldn't put that into specific boxes like Greys, Anunnakis, and Palladians, and like whatever it is. It doesn't fucking matter, because it's all just energy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some people would say that we've been humanized.
Yeah, of course, we are aliens that have been humanized. We are the Trojan horses here on this planet.
Totally. I mean, I totally agree.
That's why a lot of of us, like me included, I have such a hard time being in this physical body. I have to really learn that. It's why I had like an eating disorder for the half of my life. I was just like, what is this body? I don't want this density. I just don't, right? I just want to be like energy. Why? And of course, the ascension process is not to leave the body, it's to anchor all the light into the body, right?
And there is so much people that I can only guess that they go through life like having so much issues of those, like or mental disorders or any other stuff that could be related to this. I mean, I find it amazing. That would be all for them to actually, I mean, if you go through a bad experience or like it's only a tool, right? As we were saying before, like it's a lesson.
Yes.
So that bad experience is only there to give you the lesson.
Of course, like for me, let's just take me for an example. Now I know that I had to have this eating disorder as well, so I can learn how I can anchor energy into bodies, right? Because a lot of that is that I'm able to code stuff up here, but the key is to bring it down the spine into the body. How can I anchor energy into a body, right? And that's something I had to learn for myself. Also, the big thing with like even an eating disorder is to wanting to be able to control, so to speak, where the nutrients are going, right? Where you gain weight, for example, or how your body is shaping, right? And that's even something we can code, right? And I needed to learn that. So I needed to first have this quote unquote contrast experience where I feel like out of control, right? So I can relearn the lessons, right? And so everything that you learn is just a contrast of what you want to master in the end.
Totally agree. So well put. Could we say that right now, like the generations alive today, maybe the 4 or 5 generations alive today, like in terms of soul contracts, we've all agreed to be here, and everyone is important and a tiny piece of the puzzle for what's about to come in the future years?
I would not just say this generation or our generation. It's like every, again, source doesn't make mistakes. So a baby is only being born because there's a need for that energy to become in a physical form.
I mean,
period.
Yeah. I mean, of course, all the generations that have come and gone. But I was wondering, maybe you can talk a little bit about the soul contracts that we haven't touched upon. The
soul contract is just, again, like it's a very simple thing. It's just, why did you need to become physical? It's the very same question in a way that you will ask, when you meet someone in your hologram, why did I need to have this physical hologram in front of me? Is that a projection? Then obviously when it comes to you, you need to ask yourself, okay, why did I need to create this persona as energy in order to have a physical experience? What is my soul contract? That's this question.
Is it something that we agree upon before coming, right?
Yes.
I think that's so amazing. Like, so when we're not incarnated, we are somewhere.
Energy, we are source.
So we go back to the source, and we have, we become part of everything, God, existence. We go back to the ocean.
Yes.
And that sense of, I mean, we humans, we always do it, and we have this stupid sense of individuality, individuals. So when we die, like, do you think that going back to that ocean, like, because I'm thinking about reincarnations and all that stuff, and like, so souls would go back to that ocean, but they do not lose their unicity, if that's a word.
Their uniqueness, of course they do.
So even though they go back to the source and go back to the ocean, they still attain, they still have their own traits as a soul thing. No. Because I'm thinking about.
I mean, that's missing the whole point of unity consciousness. If you think even now to this day that you are separate, then of course you are not in unity consciousness.
Okay, because I'm thinking about in which context this soul contract happened.
The soul contract only happened. That soul contract doesn't happen. You can. It does happen, but the soul contract doesn't happen. So you would have, a separation. It doesn't happen. So you would have a separation. It happens so you can have a contrast in experience, and also so you can have a perception on one specific thing, one specific lesson, right? Similar, you can think of a team, right? A work environment, a team, right? In a work team, there's this one goal of the company, right? To expand, to grow, right? But in the company, there are different people, different players that participate to that expansion in a different way. So the leader, source of the company knows, okay, I have to manifest a financial advisor, a marketing team, an influencer, whatever it is, right? So we have the same contribution to the company as expansion, right? But we have different key players.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they come all back to that expansion of the company.
Okay, I understand that better. We're near the 2nd hour mark, and
I have to run soon too, so maybe we can wrap it up.
Yeah, sure. Super interesting stuff, Kathi. I love talking to you. You're such a source yourself of knowledge, and it's so amazing how you explain so much difficult concepts like this.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap it here. Kathi, I am really thankful for your time, and I really hope we do this again.
Yes, I mean, whenever you invite me, I'm here. I love to talk about this stuff, I learn a lot too.
Let's do it.
It's my higher self working through me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Didn't know that before.
Yes. So I'm going to pass this through again so people can follow you at Magic Kathi Official. Please check her podcast. I don't have the link anymore, but we will be putting that in the description. And I also want to thank Ruta for helping us so much to put this together. Ruta, you're being amazing. Thank you so much. You're the best. Executive producer of the show. That's it for today, folks. So thank you so much. Kathi, I'm going to say bye to you. Okay?
Yes.
And we will see each other again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, the alien in the room, people. We had some technical difficulties. You know how it is. This live thing is crazy as it is, but we're going to try and make it better every time we do it. And please follow us. We're at The Alien in the Room in Instagram. There in our bio you can see a link with all of our links and social media and all that stuff, so you can follow us. We just started doing this. We're really pumped about it. So we would definitely appreciate the following and the support from you guys. And yes, I think I'm not leaving anything. Thank you so much, guys. We will see you again next one, okay?